Hello and welcome. This is Business Breakthroughs Podcast. My name is Diane Fulmer, your host. I'm the founder of DE Fulmer LLC, a marketing agency offering book editing, copywriting, and consultation services so busy business owners can bring their authentic stories to their audience to connect, build relationships, and increase their sales. In the description box or show notes, you'll find some links to connect with me. If you want to sponsor an episode, please reach out. Thank you for your support. This is an interview-style podcast where we talk to business owners about their origin stories and lessons learned. You'll get to realize you're not alone, and we've all been there at some point. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Comment below and let us know your thoughts on this episode. With that out of the way, let's get started. On today's episode, we have Christian Davis. Christian is a full-stack email marketer offering emails and SMS. He runs an email marketing business that services 7 to 9 figure high-ticket coaches and e-com brands. And he is an epic storyteller, and I am so excited to have him on here today. Hi, how are you, Christian?
Awesome. Thank you for the intro. And I am absolutely amazing. I just got back from Ascension Leadership Academy by Chris Lee, and I feel absolutely to the stars and back. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining. So can you tell me some more about yourself and what led you to start a business?
Yeah. So I think like a lot of people, I just always knew that I was going to start a business and help people. And I didn't really feel like I was good at a lot in life, like a lot of people. And I just knew like I needed to keep trying stuff until I found it. And I tried a lot of stuff along the way, a lot of business models, but what I landed on was copywriting. And it's not even a business model as much as it's like a real career. I'm trying to reframe that in the biz ops space. If you treat it like you're getting a PhD and you're going to be a doctor, like you are way more successful than trying to work as little as possible and make as much as possible and know your worth and all those buzzwords. So
Yeah.
yeah, I decided to start because I wanted to get out of a really crappy job, scraping rotten chicken grease. And also, I knew this is what I always wanted to do. When I found email marketing, I knew in my gut that this is what I was going to do the rest of my life immediately. There was no thinking about it or, oh, I don't know if this is for me. It was just like, oh, this exists. Yes, I'm in. What course do I buy? Oh, buy this one. Okay. Get on the sales call. You don't have to sell me this. Just let me in. I want to start yesterday. And then just
Yeah.
start hammering away.
Nice. So you've talked about your story with that you were working at a job that you didn't like, you were scraping chicken grease, you were getting horrible things in your eyes and all of that stuff. Something I've always been curious about though is how did you stumble on copywriting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good question. And
So
to go back, that was degreaser, oven degreaser that went in my eye,
yeah,
and the doctor said they didn't know if I'd see again.
yeah,
And so I've had some difficult jobs, but,
yeah.
I discovered copywriting because I tried drop shipping first and then realized
Mhm.
I didn't really like running ads and doing customer service, and I just didn't wanna scale and grow with that model. I didn't like being the middleman either. And then I tried Kindle publishing, and I absolutely fell in love with writing. It was so
Mhm.
fun, and it's actually a really good business model. However, I knew I wanted to do it, like, as my career, like, not just publish books, but write at a high
Mhm.
level, and I really fell into love with the psychology of sales and marketing, and then just copywriting became a natural evolution. And then when I got to the conclusion of copywriting, because I love selling, but I don't wanna be on the phone all the time. I'm a natural introvert at heart, and I love the idea of using psychology, and building a business on that. Then I was like, "Okay, well, I have to get into email now because that's the quickest way." First of all, it's short form, so it's, like, way easier to get your foot in the door. Second
Mhm.
of all, you can get really fast feedback loop, meaning you can send the emails immediately and then get stats on them so that you can look at the stats and you can improve. So you're able to improve really quickly, really
Mhm.
fast. And if you don't have that, you have to have a mentor who's already done that and has seen stats so that they can guide you along the way. But if you have both, like I did, it's a lethal combo.
Nice. Yeah, I actually bought your book and I love it. And a lot of productivity tips. So,
Aw, thank you, Diane. Was it Ultimate Focus or?
yes, ultimate focus. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
god.
Yeah,
And I
that was,
left a 5-star review and I'm just
you're so awesome. Wow. Why
oh
haven't
my
we
god.
hung out sooner?
Yeah. So I liked how you explained the science behind all of the focus things besides just saying, just do this because.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Okay.
It's called Ultimate Focus: The Art of Mastering Concentration, and my pen name I used was Chandler Kitching with a
Hmm.
K. Looking back, I regret using a pen name, but that's what they used to teach in the course I got,
Hmm.
publishing.coms. And but yeah, that was a super fun book to write, and I don't really make much from those books, but it was more fulfilling, and I was like, "Yes, I want to keep doing this." And there are better ways to publish too if you choose topics with less competition and stuff, so it's a good business model.
Nice. Yeah, I really thought that you had some different ideas because everybody has a focus or productivity book, it feels like nowadays, but you actually gave really practical details that people can use.
Thank you. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
some good reviews. One person said that they need to have it as required curriculum in every classroom. It's like, whoa.
Yes. Uh, yeah, I saw some teachers were like, "I'm buying 30 of these for my class." It's like, that's really
That was crazy. I can't believe that they just found the book and bought it and wrote that review. That's insane. Me, but isochronic tones is really one of the most beneficial things from the book, as well as the brain
Mhm.
exercises. And
Yeah.
at the end of every chapter, there's an action step checklist that you can do to actually get better. So I'm big on action.
Yeah, and you've mentioned on your social media also that for a while you were getting up at 3 AM before you went to work on your business. So all of this was probably hard learned and hard earned.
Yeah, that's why I'm not subscribing to a lot of the biz op like mentality and offers right now. I worked really hard and for a long time, and it was 3:30, so I was sleeping in a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
And I think Wes Watson's doing 2:45 AM, so he's
Yeah.
got me on that. But yeah, no, definitely. I used to keep my alarm next to the light switch, and I had daylight spectrum bulbs, and then I would
Mhm.
pre-workout next to it. So I'd get up, and it'd be a super intrusive, aggressive alarm, so I'd jolt awake, flip my
Mhm.
lights, and chug the pre-workout, and even if I did slip and get back into bed and, like, not falling back asleep. And so then I just was forced to write, and then I just this is how I fell in love with writing. In fact, to this day, I still listen to the sound of crickets when I write at times because it reminds me of having my window open at 3:30 AM and hearing that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those sensory details can come back to you and sort of remind you of where things are. I always feel really inspired when it's fall weather for some reason, when it's crisp. I don't know if I was always a fan of school, but when I smell that air, I'm just like, oh, I want to go write 20 pages by hand. And that's what I did over the summer.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Tell me a little bit about what you've learned and who helped you along the way.
Yeah, so backtracking to finally quitting my job, I moved to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, because I realized that I needed a mentor, and so I went to Thailand on a credit card before that and met someone that was actually making a living copywriting. He said, "Hey, move to Mexico and I'll mentor you, and if you work for me for free." And so I moved into the cartel-infested ghetto area, so anything north of CTM is just a straight up ghetto. And then bodies were showing up sometimes, and someone broke in my courtyard, and I threw my body against the door, and at that moment, I'm just praying he's not gonna mess with me. At the moment, I knew I had to make, email marketing work.
Yeah.
There's no going back against the wall, and that's when magic happens. So, I was
Yeah.
honestly, you just need to get out there, you need to meet as many people as possible because, like, through one person or the next, they gave me clues that brought me to where I was trying to go, and the right people as well. So if your heart says book a ticket and go somewhere, do it. And,
Mhm.
you know, I don't like promote this explicitly, but what I did personally was I maxed out my credit card and I cashed out my 401k, which was very little. And I also racked up credit card debt because I lived in Airbnbs that were 300 a month in Mexico. So I would go to my mentor's house and work for him for free. And then I got a job making $2.90 an hour writing copy, my first one. So you need
Mhm.
to be used to working for little to learn if you want to get paid to learn at least, or you
Mhm.
for coaching. Those are the three main options. I can break them down in a different question if you want.
Mhm.
So I basically discovered that Troy Erickson was hiring for his agency, and I decided to go the agency route. And he took me under his wing, and I moved in with him. and Jason Wojo, his best friend who runs an ads agency. And I got to work and I worked 530 days in a row and just kept going after, but I did start taking a day or two off a week after that and learned a lot, like just studied the stats like ruthlessly, like really dove into the like
Mm-hmm.
sending softwares and got a good understanding for them and studied stats. And it's what I built my career on. So I call it being a full stack email marketer. That's,
Mm-hmm.
the tech and strategy behind email marketing. You're not just email copywriter.
Yeah.
Because when you're an email full stack email marketer, you're able to retain your clients because you're learning and actually getting better. And you're able to prove how much you've made a client. So you're like not on a vicious treadmill of getting clients and losing clients. And it's a big benefit of email marketing as well as you get all your clients on retainer because they always need you month after month. And then I make my offer very approachable. It's month to month, cancel anytime. I'm just here to prove I'm the best because I know my stuff. And so that's what I recommend you do as well. And just actually get good. Don't use tricks to get clients. Just actually make your offer good. A lot of copywriters will come my way and they'll ask, hey, what's the secret hack strategy that I don't know to get clients? And it's like, so there's a lot of strategies, a lot of hacks. However, there's nothing better than actually being good at this and having a really good offer.
Yeah, that's true. When you go to search for a service provider in Google or something like that to work on your house, I mean, you're going to look for the person who has the 5-star review. So I guess building your reputation is a huge part.
I always sacrificed money for reputation. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes, work for free, spend tens of thousands on mentors, and just get my name out there and serve and not look at my own bank account, not try to squeeze more money out of people, just charge literally what I'm worth or less than I'm worth in a lot of cases until I realized I was better. You'll realize you're better not when you one day wake up and realize you're better, when everyone around you is saying, hey, you're way better than you think. Then because otherwise you're biased before that and you're just drinking some mindset Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're an introvert, but then you also mentioned that you networked really effectively and you took a lot of risks and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of interested to hear because I've heard that a lot of business owners are actually introverts. So, and a lot of them take all these courses and all these mindset trainings and stuff to try to get over hurdles of being an introvert. How did you work through that?
Very good question. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, you're asking good questions. That's why I was trying other business models besides just getting down into client work for like 5 years, was because I was trying to avoid talking to people, which is so crazy. And yeah, sure, there are people that are drained from hanging out with people and people that get energy from hanging out with people.
Mhm.
I personally get drained, but also it gave me a ton of anxiety, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Now,
Yeah.
that's not an excuse. That is something that can be healed. And you can also build more stamina to hanging out with people. And everyone's on a different spectrum for this. But when I moved in with Jason and Troy, I'm like, these guys are the most introverted people I've ever met, but they just force themselves to get out there and do public speaking and podcasts and
Mhm.
webinars, interviews and events and just stick their face and say hi to somebody. That's how I got Troy. I
Mhm.
was extremely scared. I approached him. I said, what's good? I want to make you rich. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And here's my experience doing random stuff not related to this, but I'm a really good learner. And he's like, okay,
Mhm.
move in with me. Let's do this. And then I was the second hire. And then when I left, also said, Christian, I'm upset you're leaving. You're the best email marketer I had, hands down. And so as far as getting through introversion, there's this offer out there right now. And the gist of it is build a business while you're still an introvert and it's just running away. Really, what I discovered from trying all these other business models was I was tripping over dollars for pennies. And these passive income streams were way more work and way less pay up front, even though your brain thinks the opposite. The hard way is almost always the easy way, is what I've discovered. So, working with an agency and working for less pay and working nonstop, that's the hard way that people view it as, and they say, oh, I could never do that for 2 years. I value my freedom. When I was hiring my first team member, I was like, I'm going to teach you how to make 20K a month. All you have to do is do a 15-minute call with me every day. And this person literally said, I can't do that. I value my freedom too much. I'm like, bro, you're a young, strong man who has no kids and nothing else going on except the gym and his girlfriend. It's like, let's go. So
Mhm.
I was just willing to do what others weren't. And I came from a place of desperation, like I had to, and then it morphed into where we are today. So it's just an excuse. Bottom line, if you really want it bad enough, you'll force yourself to do it and then find your way into doing less extroversion work as you go along. You can hire people and stuff. Personally, I actually found I love it. So now I just go to events all the time and I talk to people all the time, and I'm starting a YouTube channel and doing podcasts. And so I'm always on the
Mhm.
forefront.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you joined me for my podcast because this is fun.
Likewise. Yeah, it's great having you
Yeah.
here as well.
Okay, so I have a section that I always do that I call brief breakthroughs. And these are usually supposed to be short answers, but sometimes people tell stories with them. So you can go either way you want. So the first one is a mistake that people make.
All people or copywriters?
Oh, either one. Most people talk about people in their industry.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So copywriters, this is a funny one. They're like, they got into this because they want to make a lot of money, and they're looking at their bank account and they're saying they're struggling to get clients. And then when they finally do start getting clients, they say yes to literally everything. And then they get so like bogged down with a bunch of work that they're not able to analyze and study their work and figure out how they can make it better. They're just on a vicious treadmill of barely completing things and moving on. And it's crazy because I saw that immediately when I joined an agency and I started being a coach for people, and I did the opposite. I was like, okay, I don't care how little I make. I don't even care what my bank account looks like. I know this is going to be pennies one day. I'm just going to study the heck out of this and just focus on my skills, because the skills is the only bank account that matters in the beginning. So yeah, that's the biggest mistake. You should know your worth, sure, but you should actually know your worth. As a copywriter is not worth the dollar amount these gurus are probably telling you you're worth.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely need to be good in order to charge well. Yep. Let's see here. A recent lesson that you learned.
Oh man, this is kind of personal. I was at a leadership event and we were all going around the room and sharing what our vision for life is, meaning what's our goal and stuff. And everybody was sharing stuff like, oh, I want to create a vision of a community, my vision is to create a community of connection and loving kindness and passion. And coming from the hustle culture in my past that I'm transitioning out of now, my old self, I found some judgmental thoughts entering. But yeah, but where's the real goals, like the tangible stuff, like
Mhm.
and stuff, or like even just physical stuff, like, hey, I'm gonna find a soulmate, or yeah. And I realized later that I was so wrong. I was like, what? So like by avoiding the soft skills like that of being a better leader, like building connection with people, actually caring about everybody, like literally everybody, like random people on the street, just loving people so much. Those skills alone and stuff and ones like that will take you everywhere you want to go in life. Like
Mhm.
biggest clients I have right now have the best leadership. The ones that are floundering and struggling have the worst leadership. And so the money's in the soft skills after you've already got your hard skills down. So I was wrong.
Ah, okay. Yes, the soft skills transfer everywhere. Recent win that you
Uh,
had, which should be easy for you because I see you win every day, but
yeah, what day? I mean, which one?
yeah.
Like most recent one? Yesterday we ran a
One
webinar.
5 minutes ago, Christian.
Okay, the next one will be in about 6 hours because we have another webinar going, but we just completed a webinar yesterday that pulled in 600K. And the sales are still coming in because it was a book a call as a CTA, so I won't even know the full results of that until a week after. So that's a good start. Some of the bigger ones that have been within the last few months, so they're a little bit further away. Took a client from 13K a month to 313K a month, or not a month, like total in 2 months were my first 60 days working with them. So
Wow.
it was just a massive improvement and lever we pulled on, and literally an extra 300K. So it made the retainer like nothing, feel like nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, we have some big stuff coming that I can't talk about for Black Friday. It's going to be freaking crazy.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I'm going to use the social proof around that to launch a program that is going to be really helpful for everybody in the space. It's going to go deep into the tech and strategy, and it's going to be different than anything else out there. But yeah, as far as more recent wins, I signed an insanely big client, the number one guy in all of self development. And I can't talk about who it is because I'm under contract, but yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Like every single person knows them. And then also same with another one. So like two, he's not the number one, but a lot of people view him as like top three. The point of this is all you need is one really good client and one really good instance of social proof. And then all of a sudden you're on everybody's radar. Cause I
Mhm.
didn't start pitching these people and banging on their door. Word of mouth spread from my case studies. And then they ended up in my inbox.
Oh, wow.
So that's what these gurus don't talk about in client getting programs. They're not, I mean, you have to get your first client somehow, but you also should be learning a lot, literally everything before you get on your first call, because then you're going to get on your first call and you're not going to be scared as much because you already know what to do and you've already watched the lessons on exactly what to say on the sales calls and exactly how to get them on calls. And yeah, so it's exciting. Those are a couple. Yeah, we'll start with that.
Nice. Yeah, and that's gotta be great also as an introvert, not having to go chase that and do the calls for that. They're just in your inbox, and that just makes it better.
Yeah, that's the real secret that the gurus don't tell you.
Yeah. So what's a goal that you have this year?
You know, it's crazy. I used to set a bunch of financial goals and were very way in the beginning. Like I only started getting successful when I stopped setting financial goals and I set goals for my skills and how much I want to make people, like other people, and just
Yeah.
so I don't have a goal related to finances, but at the end of the year, I'm going to have the program launched and I'm going to have a bunch of students in there. And yeah, it's going to be beautiful and amazing. And then also have some specific launch goals for clients as well. Obviously, every single one has a handful of
Mhm.
goals. Can't really talk about those two in depth, but
Yeah. I
they're
understand.
definitely like seven figures for a few of them. And then, yeah, I mean, I started doing this leadership program. It's three different steps. And
Mhm.
the goal is to complete that, and which is healing all of your past
Mhm.
trauma stuff, as a lot of people call it.
Yeah.
Which that was the key. I mean, when I moved in with Troy, I also combined ruthless everyday action with clearing my stuff. So I found this year-long class called Kabbalah that
Mhm.
a lot of ascended masters have taken from a lot of different religions. Ones you recognize, like Jesus, like Siddhartha Gautama, Buddha, Muhammad, and it cleared like a lot of the BS I had going on. They call it 10 years of growth in 1 year.
Mhm.
So combining the more metaphysical stuff with the ruthless physical action was the secret
Mhm.
to like finally blew me off. Cause when you get an opportunity, you're not going to butcher it or you're less likely to butcher it because you have your shit cleared up. And
Yeah.
let's say you don't feel worthy, which is the case with a lot of people like Wes Watson, his entire army. Like these guys are self loathing. They don't feel worthy. They have self hate. That's why, I mean, a lot of them have criminal past and stuff. And so
Mhm.
that's just an example. Or Andrew Tate, for example, is like these guys are desperately clamoring for self worth. And so they're coming to these clients from a place of lack of self worth and self love and forgiveness. And
Mhm.
that's what's shooting them in the foot. And you combine that with not knowing anything and just trying to get a client, like it's literally impossible. Like, how the
Yeah.
hell you're going to get a client? You gotta, but when you combine them all, it's just so easy. You show up to a call like this, you're completely relaxed and love it. And I've had people tell me, Christian, I just want to throw money at you. I just want to give you money because I want to be around that winter energy and I love your vibe and let's do this. So that's the secret.
Yeah, you have really nice energy. I like how you're just kind of chill, but then also very knowledgeable. It's a really good energy to just receive all the good things in the world. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
But yet your goals are more about serving your face off and working hard within things that you can control and not shooting for the moon on things that you have no idea the way most people do.
I mean, yeah, I don't need to name names. Go look at some gurus out there and look at their numbers. And if you choose the guru that went from like 0 to the biggest amount in the quickest amount of time, often cases, they made that amount with a course and they stopped doing client work after a couple months. And so
Mhm.
good can the course actually be if they didn't do that much client work? And so you gotta serve and you gotta sacrifice. Don't be going for the flex or I'm this age or I make this amount. Just take the Hormozy model and just serve.
Yeah, I love that. I'm actually reading the Hormozy books now, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah, 100 mil leads. That one was my favorite so far. I know you know this, but for the listeners, I did have my client, I made my client win the number one affiliate spot for 100 mil leads by 30%.
Mhm,
And it's because he told me I had to do it and it was
mhm.
perfect for him. And that was super fun. That kind of put me on the map about a year ago. And so that's when I transitioned from just serving to starting to charge my worth in quotation marks.
Yeah, that was a really great story too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because 'Cause you've already done a lot in a short amount of time, so
Yeah. So really good question. It's not related to scaling and stuff.
yeah.
You'll meet a lot of false prophets along your journey of online
Mhm,
marketing. And it's the people that are just all about the flex and they're all about, I made this amount and this amount. And for the people that follow me on social media, you know that I was like on a rocket ship and I made a lot in a short amount of time. However, that was never the purpose. It just happened so naturally. And also that was a comfortable pace for me because I had been building and building and building and training myself and my team so meticulously and taking the loss. And then so I was ready, locked and loaded to go when the time came to take more people on. So I've watched people in the space scale too hard and too quick, especially in services. Like that's not a flex to be scaling that hard in services because
mhm.
you want to make sure you get the best results for your clients. So getting the best results and quality is always number one. So you'll never hear me say a goal that's I'm gonna make this amount of time. Because it should be natural. Now I do have big goals. You know, a really cool thing right now is my dad just quit his job of 30 years as an engineer for Intel, making 180K a year, and we're gonna build this business together. And I'm really excited because he's like the nerdier, like more analytical, more technical version of me and he's where I got it. You know, my mom's the outgoing, like fun one, and then my dad's super analytical, also fun and
Mhm.
breaks things down, perfectionist. So I'm like, yes, you're gonna be perfect. This a line of work is so attention to detail driven. It's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Proud of him too. Like
yeah.
this is very unlike him, but I think he's just fed up. He's like, you know what, this looks fun. I'm not gonna sit on the sidelines and watch you do this.
Some fathers and sons go fishing. You guys are gonna go make people a bunch of money. I mean, everyone has their thing.
Yeah, so they're moving in with me and because
Nice.
yeah, we just want more of an intimate experience to like you know, be there with each other. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
That sounds incredible. So, what are you promoting right now, and how can people reach you about it?
Yeah. So here's my highly optimized sales funnel. You can opt in. We'll aggressively high ticket close you. Just kidding. Like we could just connect and be friends on social media if you want.
Yeah.
Instagram.com/ Christian the copywriter or Facebook.com/ Christian the copywriter. And yeah, just shoot me a message and I'll want to meet every single one of you guys. I absolutely love connecting with people and serving. So let me know how I can do so.
Oh, that sounds great. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to share today?
Yeah, definitely. Um, just like so many realizations along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's different now this is gonna get a little woo-woo, but
Yeah.
there's different pockets of success, okay? So there's like the actual skill. You need the actual skill to do it. And then there's the spiritual side. And so that can mean something different for everybody. I liked Kabbalah because it was like a bolt on to any belief or religion. And people
Mhm.
from all around the globe were there of every different type of person you can imagine and background. And then we're all just there together learning one thing. And then also, of course, mindset stuff. I thought mindset stuff was kind of BS because I was one of the people that was super into affirmations And just like thinking that was going to take me across the board, but really affirmations are not strong enough. If you're getting good results from, do them, but I found the Tony Robbins method of actually feeling it is better. And also
Mm.
the spiritual practices of cleansing the energy inside of me and freeing myself, it like, and then combined with the mindset stuff and the skill, that's what made me feel like anything is freaking possible. And then also it's crazy because the more joy you put out there and the more you love what you do, the more you just bring opportunity in. And it's like, I'm not like one of those people just telling you some abstract thing I read in The Secret. Like I'm living
Yeah.
it, you know, I've experienced it. It's literally happening to me. And let me tell you, it had to happen spiritually before it came tangibly. And even before the skill part came, it came spiritually. So I was locked in. I saw my vision. Even though I was in an agency making less than a lot of freelancers, I would wake up and I would get tears of joy and be like, I'm just so freaking grateful. I'm not at my shitty job anymore or in a ghetto, or I don't have bed bugs anymore eating me alive at night. I don't have to sneak on the bus to save, because I don't have $2 just to get to my
Mhm.
shitty job. Don't have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning anymore or take a 2-hour bus ride and then a half-mile run each way. And I'm just so grateful, like so freaking happy and grateful. I can't. And I still, so that's the goal right now is just help people turn their living nightmare into the life of their wildest dreams. Cause I get it. I'll still get nightmares in my old life and then jolt awake out of bed and look around this place and be like, wow, I can't believe it. I transformed my life. I forgot in my sleep. I'm so freaking grateful. And so that honestly came,
Yeah.
guys, before any of this happened. So
Yeah.
definitely focus on that and don't overlook any step of the process. Oh, one thing that's important to note is that you have 3 main ways to make it as a copywriter or email marketer. And each of them has a pluses and minuses depending on your situation. And so we'll lay it all out right here. And I
Okay.
don't heard anybody talk about this yet, but it's just I walked the walk. This is what I experienced. You can, one, work for a mentor for free. And this is if you have a lot of time but no money. And so there are ways to do this. Like if you have savings, you can go about this route or you can move somewhere super cheap. I liked Playa del Carmen because there was lots of people working online there and it was a cool starter community of bootstrappers. So it was a better environment for sure than where I was at my job because you have to surround yourself with the right people. Look,
Mhm.
tried for years being by myself and my friends, like being YouTubers that I was watching after work to try to have those like-minded connections. And you're not gonna just be by yourself and grind and then wake up one day and you're successful. It's only gonna come through surrounding yourself with the right people, because they'll introduce you to somebody that'll help you a bunch, or one thing will lead to the next, or something someone says will lead to a clue in your brain that just clicks that's unrelated. And you're like, okay, I have to do this. It only came through surrounding myself with those people. And which includes moving from the ghetto of Mexico and hanging out with a bunch of bootstrappers to moving into a house with 2 26-year-olds making 240K a month. Like,
Mhm.
that's the key because then I was like, all the racket in my head of the BS belief system that was holding me back, it just was shut off because I literally became them, like brainwave entrainment. Your brain literally syncs up with the brainwaves of the people you're around. So just by being around someone successful, you're more likely to be successful. As crazy as that sounds, the
Mhm.
science coming out on that. So that's option one, and that's for the risky takers. And then you have option two, which is keep your job but spend money on mentorship, like courses, programs, and copy feedback. So that's if you have more money or if you're like also down to take a risk and put something on a credit card. I combined that with having a job in the beginning. And then when I was
Mhm.
ready to quit and then all of a sudden I had more free time, I lived on very little savings in a credit card while I worked for free. So that was the path. And then the last one is work for an agency. And you do need a little bit of experience to get your foot in the door. But the cool thing is with this one, you get paid to learn.
Mhm.
I think honestly, working for an agency is the best way, hands down, because you get paid to learn. You get a lot of reps in, and you're if you can get into a situation where you're surrounded with high level people, it's like a win win win. And so
Mhm.
for someone that's really lost and stuck, that's the secret formula. Because no matter what, on your journey being a copywriter, you need these three things. You need the knowledge, which is like from a course or a program. Then you need
Yeah.
feedback on your copy, which means preferably both, like sending the email and getting feedback from a mentor on the email, but at least one of those.
Hmm.
And then you also need to actually get inside of an email sending software and start learning the tech and strategy. That's the last thing you need. And it's super freaking
Yeah.
important. So yeah, I know that's not like sexy or trendy to say, hey, go work for an agency.
Hmm.
Not going to sell a lot of courses, but that is, I'm telling you guys, the easiest, fastest way. It appears hard at first and it will feel hard, but the hard way is the fast way
Hmm.
and the easier way because I have people in my inbox, Diane, that are like, hey, I've been copywriting for 8 years, copywriting for 8 years. I'm only making 2K still. What do I do? I'm stuck. It's like, you're just isolated in a room, banging your head against the wall, not knowing what to do and BSing your
Hmm.
client work. Of course you're stuck and it's not your fault. You just don't know what to do. So
Yeah.
I'm that hand. I'm here to help you. And I don't even have anything to sell.
Yeah. You have a lot of really great insights. I remember asking you about books to read because I was like, maybe there's better answers in a book. And you said, you know what, Diane? The best thing is to go hand copy some winning copy and get feedback on your copy if you want to learn copywriting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Or
Don't buy another course, just practice.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Unless the course is different from everything else, you probably don't need it. You're probably just being course junkie. I have a lot of secrets that my successful friends tell me, the 7 to 9 figure ones. And one of them is they're like, yeah, the student that spends the most money with me gets the least results. And the one that spends the least amount of money often gets the most results because like they're down anyway. They're not just trying to throw money at a problem.
Hmm.
Now, not to say some people will buy an inner circle and get a ton of value from it, especially if they're a high level business owner. Obviously, that's the exception. And this is like more of a generalization.
I've heard it said, though, sometimes you have to pay to play. Sometimes there's these
Definitely.
higher level masterminds. So, how do you differentiate that?
Yeah, exactly. So you definitely, if you're going to get a community aspect and it's going to be super high level, then it's definitely a really safe investment because you need it. Because then it leads back to surrounding yourself with the right people. So masterminds
Mhm.
like nothing held back are 100% worth it. No, especially if you're intermediate or advanced. So it's about identifying where you are on your journey and going from there. And yeah, in general, I'm not saying don't go buy courses like you should. The people that go buy lots of courses in general, they're more often than not the most successful ones.
Mhm.
I was just talking about specific people to a specific offer. Like you're getting to go to one guru and buy all their stuff. And sometimes it just is in lieu of action. So like
Yes.
I,
Yeah,
I did a,
actually. Yep.
yeah, I did a presentation to a giant copy gurus meetup and everybody in there was like, wow, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this before. I watched your calls 7 times, took lots of notes. And I'm like, you probably should just be writing emails and getting feedback on them and studying how to send them an active campaign. Even though I dropped straight up fire in there the whole time, but it's like watch it twice and then move on.
Yeah, the application is really important and taking a lot of action.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing about an agency is that you're forced to do a ton of action. And
Yes.
it's like having a gun to your head, and if like you don't perform, you're done. And so
Yeah.
you're just like for people that are procrastinators, that's the best solution because then
Mhm.
we'll
Yeah.
even just see 2 years later, you'd be like, I'm not a procrastinator anymore. What's procrastination? As soon
Yeah.
as you have a thought about doing something, you stop and do it.
Yeah.
Anything else feels super uncomfortable.
Yeah, because those deadlines are not gonna meet themselves, so
Yeah. Yep,
yeah.
as you know.
Yep. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I have any more questions. I don't know if you have any more insights that you wanted to share today?
Yeah, I mean, no prob. Like, we could next time do like have people here live and have them ask questions because they get a lot of value from that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, just final words are focus on your client's bank account, not yours. Ignore what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to them and address the BS thoughts running through your head that are keeping you stuck. And then also find a spiritual practice so that you can clear all that shit going on in your head and everywhere around you and finally blast yourself forward. I mean, that class I took was freaking crazy. It was a year-long class with tons of homework and 4 meetups throughout the year, and then a meetup once a month, and I had to commute each time 3 hours each way, and it was with money I didn't have. I put it all on a credit card again, and I did it because I watched the movie Yes Man by Jim Carrey, and I just started saying yes to everything, and then that's when I started getting
Mhm.
more traction in my life and career because I was like, "Wow, actually, since I surrounded myself with the right people, saying yes more often than not has led to the best things I could ever possibly imagine."
Oh my gosh, it's like improv. It's everything's yes and because that's how things grow and develop. Yeah.
Exactly, but,
Yeah.
I have been scammed along the way, like,
Mm.
I've given friends I gave one friend 16K and they didn't deserve it and had no
Mhm.
track record, I found out, and it was my fault because I trusted, but overall, it's been a giant net positive because
Mhm.
by saying yes to everything, it's giving me everything I've ever wanted plus some, and the final tip I have for you guys is really tapping into your intuition and getting
Mhm.
because that's when you know if a risk is really a risk or not, or if you can tolerate it. Because when your gut just even though you're scared, like, part of you is terrified. Like,
Mhm.
in the moments where I've been the most terrified, but in the pit of my core, I felt like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this. I can't explain why, but I have to do this. I'm not gonna tell anybody because 'cause they're all gonna think I'm freaking crazy.
Mm.
But I do it anyway, and I'm gonna do it the best I possibly can," and then it just is like opening Pandora's box, the magic unfolds.
Oh, I love that. I'm getting chills at your last insights here. I could sit here much longer, but you know what? We'll leave it there. We'll do another episode.
Yeah, I'm down. This was fun. And yeah, if anybody wants to join next time and ask me questions, I'm more than happy to. I charge 500 an hour for freelancers or $1,000 an hour for business owners, but I'm more than happy to do these for free. So bring your questions and I'll attack them.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Christian.
I got you. Thanks for having me.
This has been Business Breakthroughs with Diane Fulmer and guest Christian Davis. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, save, share, and subscribe. See you next time.